You ever see the movie Total Recall, Lisa? With Arnold Schwarzenegger, the original one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, consider this a divorce. That's the only line that sticks out in my head.
That sounded more Brooklyn than anything else.
Well, I haven't been working on my Austrian/American transatlantic accent as much as I should be. I should spend more time on it. But things are getting weird in Alberta. And I know we talked about Alberta last week, but there's just so much fun in Alberta that we thought we could come back and talk about it again. Does that sound good to you, Lisa?
I wouldn't call it fun, but okie dokie.
Welcome to Politics is Broken with Brittlestar and Lisa B. Canadian and global politics unspun. Are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
You're not sitting. You're not sitting comfortably though.
I have a tartan blanket over my nether region.
Bits.
You made it somehow worse. Nether region had it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, is bits worse than nether region?
Yeah, nether region has a Peter Pan quality to it.
Can we put up a poll? Is bits? What do you like better, bits or nether region?
I did not like where that sentence started at all. Let's move on. Anyway, how are you, Lisa? Well, wait a minute. I haven't told people where they are. You're listening to Politics is Broken. My name is Brittlestar.
My name's Lisa.
How are you doing, Lisa?
We have to stop asking me that. Okay? Moving forward, stop asking me how I'm doing.
At least the weather's good in Alberta.
Momentarily, I think we're supposed to.
Is it okay currently?
It's not super cold, but I think we're supposed to be getting snow in the next few days.
Right.
Certainly, yeah.
We're supposed to be getting a massive snowstorm here in southwest Ontario, and I know that Toronto was like 20 to 40 centimeters potentially, and Stratford, where I am, was 40 to 70. That seems like a lot of snow, doesn't it?
I feel like that's just going to shut down Toronto.
My God, for sure it will.
Nobody's going anywhere in TO.
I think sometime last winter in a massive snowstorm, Toronto just decided they're like, yeah, we're just not going to plow the streets today. We're just gonna, let's ride this out.
Snow day.
Snow day for everybody.
Oh.
Such is winter in Canada. We'll see what happens. Hopefully everyone stays safe. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about the whole recall situation. Total recall. Consider this a divorce. That's better, wasn't it? No?
It's very Danny DeVito-ish.
Danny DeVito's Austrian
Not even
cousin.
Joe Pesci. You're more Danny DeVito-ish. Yeah.
Hansi DeVito. My name is Hansi DeVito. Perhaps you enjoyed me on the show Taxi. We're going to talk about the recall situation out there because it's fascinating to me. This whole idea that people can just be like, you know what? The people who voted in kind of suck. Let's get them out.
We don't like you anymore.
Yeah, and it's something that I was totally unaware that we could do here in Canada, and we'll talk about more. But first, I want to talk about something even more fun. And we've kind of touched on this topic before, but it's worthwhile bringing up because there's been a couple of recent examples of this whole issue, which is the disappearance of statesmanlike behavior in politics. And there used to be a whole thing of like, he's very statesmanlike though, isn't he? He's very statesmanlike, or she's very statesmanlike. Can she be very statesmanlike? I think so.
Statesperson.
States doesn't have the same gravitas, but I think I'm happy with either one. But the idea that you could be diplomatic, you could rise above the muck, even if you didn't like the direction in which the press were going with a question or protesters were taking you, you could rise above it. Now, so saying, the first thing that just popped in my mind, of course, was the Shawinigan handshake and Jean Chrétien.
That's exactly what popped into my head. I'm like, really?
Which, if we're going to be totally honest here, all cards on the table, I loved. And I think most people loved it as well. They were like, so it was just a bit too far. Do I think that politicians should be strangling every protester? No. Who's got that kind of time? But however, I think that there's an expectation we have of politicians to kind of rise above usually and to kind of like not get their feathers ruffled by every single little thing that happens. And of course, recently in the U.S., Donald Trump on Air Force One said to Bloomberg reporter Catherine Lucy, quiet, quiet, piggy. I didn't believe that at first. And I had to watch that clip like multiple times. And
you
he doesn't
didn't believe it?
I didn't. Because it was so outrageous. It was like, wow, that is like, I don't even know what the point is. Like, who just says that? And who has that in their regular vernacular at the ready to go?
Convicted felon.
Yeah, probably.
Alleged rapist.
But it was shocking, though. It was following questions about releasing the sealed documents related to the Epstein investigation. And he didn't like the direction the questions were going in. And so he just said, quiet, piggy, like that was going to solve it. And I think it did solve it for him temporarily in that moment. What's most distressing about that is how that was a huge issue, a huge news story for about 14 seconds. And then
I was gonna say, did we forget about the Epstein files? Because that was big news last week, and I don't know where that's gone.
I know it's, I mean, well, it's, you know, as people keep saying, the Epstein files, Pam Bondi, whatever her title is in the U.S., I can't remember, the DOJ person, Attorney General, is that right? That makes sense, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
She's got 30 days to release the files, of course. And we'll see what happens.
And then what? Yeah. I'm sure it surprised everyone around him when he said it, because why is a president of a country saying that? But then I don't, like, why are we surprised? That has been his sort of unpresidential presence, is just to say whatever the fuck he wants to say when he wants to say it.
Do we think that's the first time he said quiet piggy? Or do you think that's a phrase he has ready to go?
I think that is the less offensive version of the things that he's said.
But have you ever heard someone say that? I've never heard. When I heard the thing that struck me as weirdest about it was the statement "quiet piggy" has no anchor and any reference I can think of in my entire life. I've never heard anyone, again, as we said, even I think before we started recording, even Kermit the Frog doesn't say quiet piggy, because you just don't do that.
He'd get karate chopped by mistake.
Exactly. He would get karate chopped. Exactly. But it's one of those things where it's like, where does that even come from? It reminds me of when I was 21, walking into a bar with my then girlfriend and her friend, who were the same age, and these rough and tumble boys,
ruffians,
riffraff, were seated at a table, and as we passed by, one of them went meow, and I thought, what the hell's that? Where did that come from? Has that ever worked? First of all, no, it's never worked. I guarantee you, it's never worked. But also, where did that come from? What's like? Because usually when you say something like, if you would have said something else like, quiet, you idiot, or quiet, idiot, or something, you'd be like, okay, well, that was super harsh and uncalled for, but I understand where that's coming from. Quiet piggy's a weird one.
Well, I mean, obviously it's a derogatory, he's insulting her and minimizing her, which in and of itself is not surprising. Do I think he uses the term piggy a lot? I do, actually.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's a piggy user, because it's like, on the most superficial level, no woman wants to be referred to as piggy, right? Like, that's like an insult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's childish, but look at who we're talking about. But like I said, I think that's the most sophomoric thing he would have said. He's probably thinking of a lot of worse words to use, but the fact that flew out so easily, yeah, that's in his vernacular for sure.
It's like one of those insults, though, that you would say amongst a group of friends to somebody big. You'd be worked up in and say that as an insult to someone while your friends are around you, and they would never let you live it down because it's the stupidest sounding insult in the world.
But again, look at who we're talking about. Yeah. Like, what are the people around him going to say? Sir, you can't go around calling people piggies. Like, yeah, they're going to be like, ha.
Excellent farm animal reference, sir.
At least you didn't call her insert other
word insult. But it was so far beneath obviously, as so much of what Trump's done has been beneath the office of the presidency. I mean, this was the most
seller. Sorry, it was.
But this is like, it's so ridiculous to me that it stood out amongst all the other terrible, terrible things that are happening. I thought, wow, this is where we're at. Okay, all right. But then also, we're Ontario and in Canada are not immune to this as well. During protests inside Queen's Park in November, Doug Ford responded to a protester in the gallery by telling them to, quote, "Get a job."
Dirty hippies. Go get a job.
The protests were centered around Bill 60, criticized by tenant groups for enabling faster evictions and empowering landlords. And it is not a great bill. No. But again, I mean, I feel, to be fair to Doug Ford, and that's a sentence I hardly ever say. To be fair to Doug Ford, it is nowhere near as bad as Quiet Piggy.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, can you really compare the two? Like, I think the Blob and his, terminologies are just, we're going to put you over here. We expect more in Canada, right? We are politer.
I'd hope so.
We are more polite. But it speaks to the threshold that a politician gets to when they just clap back, right? Like, in whatever way they're going to clap back. I think whereas Trump wanted to belittle the individual and caught everybody off guard, I think Ford actually believes that, protesters should go get jobs, not realizing that probably a lot of them have jobs.
Yeah, maybe he meant it as an encouragement. Get a job. You deserve one.
We believe in you. No.
Yeah.
No, it was shut up, dirty hippie. That's what
that's
exactly
what it was.
If you had a job, you wouldn't have to worry about evictions.
It makes me sad to see that. I mean, politics is so slimy on its own. Politics is so gross on its own. And I think there's just, when it gets to this point, it's like, come on, guys. This is like, let's rise above this a little bit. You know what I mean? Like this.
I think, Poilievre does it similarly. Like, when a reporter's coming at him and he doesn't like the question, like, he has his own way of trying to bring him down a notch, right?
Sure.
And honestly, of any prime minister, I hate to bring him up, but of any prime minister who would have had the right, who earned the opportunities to clap back and didn't, is Justin. Like, the only clapback I think he ever really gave was that one when he pulled his mask down and was like, "Don't you have a hospital to go protest outside of?" Like, I think that's which is a zinger. I liked it.
It's a zinger. I know. It's like, it's a highbrow. He didn't like pull his mask down and say, "Oink, oink, piggy." Or he didn't do that.
Get a job, piggy.
Like, get a job, piggy. Where would that have come from?
Right.
But don't you have a hospital you should be protesting at? It was a zinger. I appreciated that.
Good. We laughed.
It was no strangling, but it was close.
No, there was no strangling. No strangling. And as much as I believe in the abilities to protest and stuff like that, that Chrétien wins for he was just moving someone out of the way so he could get through.
He was concerned about the safety of the person.
Safety, of course, right?
Exactly. But of course, Trump has been horrendous to the press in general, and referred to ABC News' Mary Bruce as a terrible person and a terrible reporter. Called the New York Times reporter recently ugly on the inside and outside. And they're all directed largely, if not entirely, at women. Isn't that weird?
Surprising.
So I'm going to just throw something out there just to sort of see if we can make everybody angry. How do we feel about Prime Minister Carney's response recently to the female reporter who asked if he had met with Trump recently and said, "Who cares?" As a few people had pointed out, he says this kind of thing to women, but not really to male reporters. Or I can take that either way. I can take that as like a directed sort of point of, some subconscious misogyny, or just misogyny. And then the other side of it is that the female journalists are the only ones who are actually doing the work.
I think that's sometimes the case, because really when I look at the people who are asking the hard-hitting questions of Poilievre, a lot of the times it's the female presenting reporters. Because I could take the response one of two ways. if we want to take it as he's a misogynist and being like, who cares, your question's stupid, if that's what he meant, or if his response to have you been talking to or meeting with Trump, he's saying, who cares, in that Trump's not important enough for me to meet with at this point. Like,
yeah.
Right? I don't know if I'm stretching because I didn't see it, but because really, why does he, I mean, I know why, but should Trump always be the topic of conversation when we're trying to deal with some of the stuff here? Maybe not, right? Maybe that's where he was going. I mean, I don't know what it is like. I mean, you would know, Stuart, you're famous in everywhere you go. Yeah. But like, I don't know what it would be like to have people hammering you all the time, right?
Yeah.
And think about it, like,
Lisa, it's terrible.
Yeah, I know. Put your head down and rest, all. But if you've like come out of question period and you're still reeling from whatever happened in question period, and people who've had the opportunity to sit outside and watch it and scribble down notes start hammering you, are you still in that mindset? Because let me tell you, last night I watched question period.
Why?
I was looking for something specific, and boy, did it disappoint me. The childishness of what's like happening right now, right? Like, I don't even know why we do it anymore at this stage.
Yeah,
like,
it's all just setups for vertical clips for social.
Right. They've all talked about what joke they're going to use, and ha ha ha. That, like, it's very scripted, I find.
Performative, yeah.
But it's just all this back and forth of insults. So if you're like all because that, and you come out and they ask questions, maybe you don't respond. If it is a consistent pattern where it is only female reporters that are getting that kind of response, then Mark and I will have to have a conversation. But I don't know if that's the actual scenario. Like, I'll just call him up.
I'll patch you through.
Yeah.
No, it's hard to determine exactly, but of course, again, and I'm not saying that, what Carney said or what Ford said is remotely close to how terrible Trump has been to specifically women, period.
For his entire life. Okay.
Which isn't funny, but it's also a little funny because it's a blanket statement that applies. But to women journalists specifically, I think that, he's in a league of his own for sure. But it's just it's disheartening, I think, and it's disappointing to sort of look at the situation and sort of think, God, these are the guys who are in charge, and I don't think it's motivating anyone to get into politics.
No. I mean, people tell me all the time, and no, absolutely not. It's not. After watching question period, and then I watched the Alberta legislature because
what could be worse than question period? Alberta's question period.
Provincial question period. There is absolutely no way that I would not get kicked out, because
oh my God,
the buffoonery, and the posturing, and the never actually answering questions. And I know it's all, it's protocol, and it's, all the pomp and circumstance. But there's no way that I could do that.
I will say, as we just move on to the next topic here, that every time Trump or Polyev says to a reporter after they ask a question, who are you with? I'm begging one of them to say, your mom.
Right?
Wouldn't that be great?
I understand the reason why, because people always ask, why don't they push? I understand the reason why. You want to still be able to go.
Yeah.
But at some point, someone's got to be like, fuck it. And just hammer him with the ridiculousness that you get what you give, buddy. Right?
I think it's even especially like you see the U.S. journalists on Air Force One, it's like, he's not going to kick you out mid-flight because people will stop that from happening because it'll cause a big mess.
He doesn't want to be known as that president.
So just go for it. Just
right?
No, he might get you through. He might get you thrown out of a different plane later on, but that's never mind. That's either here nor there.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on from the terrible world of federal and Canadian and American politics and move on to the clean, beautiful world of Avatar-like of Alberta politics. Specifically, I want to talk today about recall, which I, again, am fascinated about this whole thing. I am so fascinated. I don't know if you laughed when I said I want to talk about this today when we texted the group chat, but I'm so excited about talking about this because it's fascinating to me. The idea that you could get somebody voted into office as an MLA in Alberta. That translates to MPP for the rest of the world. And you can vote them in, and if they suck, you can do a petition that if you have 60% of the votes cast in the petition, is that right? Does that make sense?
You need 60% of the voters who voted in that election
to sign a petition saying they're going to recall this politician. Petition has a period of 90 days, and it triggers a by-election, a recall vote. Mm-hmm. I'm fascinated by this. I want this to apply to so many things because it's not just, I want it to apply to like every job as well. It's fantastic, but it'd be hard to do that. But that idea that it's not just a bunch of cranks, because sometimes you'll get like, situations like, for example, in a job, you might have a couple people complaining about you, and then your bosses go, "Well, that's it. You're getting the boot. You're out." But if out of every
unless you're unionized, and then it has to go through far more steps.
Unless you're unionized, in which case they will do everything they can to protect the worst employees. I didn't say that, did I? But if you worked in a shop, say, and they wanted to kick you out, and they had to get 60% of every customer you've dealt with who said, "You know what, this person sucks at their job," that would be fair. Yeah. And
it
represents,
I think it's
amazing,
the amount of work that it takes to actually do this, right? Because it's not easy. It's not easy.
Now, Alberta and BC are the only places in Canada that have the MLA recall. BC has had 29 petitions since 1995, 0 successful recalls, but 1 resignation in 1998. Alberta has 14 active petitions currently, as of today's date anyway. And 0 historical recalls because it's just it was a law previously, and then it's back now. Isn't it? When was it back? I'm trying to think of these. You might know this already, though.
When they brought it back was in 2021, and then it came into effect, I think, 2022.
Yeah, so 1936 was the first time. They scrapped it in 37 and brought it back in 2022, strengthened it in 2025. Not that I just want to make sure the information's correct. That's all. Not that I don't trust you in your Alberta ways.
I wasn't around in the 1936 one, but
I remember my parents taking me down to look at the Alberta recall. No, I don't know. But what's the general feeling? Because some of the votes, I was fascinated because like 60% of votes cast seems like, oh, that's a pretty high bar. And then you look at the numbers of votes that got people into office. Mm-hmm. It's doable amounts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people are like 15,000 votes received, 10,000 votes received, 11,000 votes received. Now that's a wide area of ground to cover, but suddenly you're getting like out of 10,000, you get 6,000 people to say you're no good. That's now a feasibility.
Well, and it changed. So we didn't have it for the longest time. And then, I mean, I can speculate, but Jason Kenney and his minions decided we need to bring back recall legislation, and all of the conservative leaning organizations, media were like, yeah, we need recall legislation. And I think it primarily had to do with trying to get rid of woke mayors and stuff like that. So they reintroduced it. It looked a little bit different than it does now. It used to be, I think it was, I'm not sure the percentage is the same, but it wasn't of the voters, it was of the population. So obviously there's less voters than there is population, so you have to get a more concentrated signatory now. But that's, I think it was 70, 75. Anyway, it was open. It was like, here's your opportunity. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. And then someone tried in Calgary and was not successful in trying to recall a woke politician. And so in response to that, this UCP government said, bet we'll make it easier for you. We'll reduce the restrictions. We'll give you more time. And then you can go on your merry way, never thinking that the karma fairy would come and kick them in the ass. And that's what's happening now.
Because they do seem, in the media, they do seem quite surprised that this has come to bite them on the ass a little bit.
They're having temper tantrums left and right. It's fantastic.
Because I couldn't find any concrete numbers of how many signatures, of course, yet. However, the petitions are doing well, are they not?
I'm always leery to talk about the success of any petition because until the numbers are in, they're not in.
Sure.
But I did hear one, was it today? I can't remember, saying that the individual who initiated the petition and the group behind it feels that they're sort of behind where they would like to be. However, they have also been told that they are doing well in their acquiring of signatures. So we'll see.
There's no federal recall in Canada.
Can you imagine if there had been? My God.
But also at the same time, I don't think you'd get 60% of the people to agree to kick somebody out, though.
But like, how would you do that? Because we don't elect the prime minister. So,
we don't elect the prime minister, so it wouldn't
right.
work
So
anyway.
would it be 60% of Canadian eligible voters in Canada? Like it wouldn't work the same, right?
It would just be like a poll company who would offer you gift cards to Harvey's. I don't know if you're aware of that, but the poll companies, one of the big popular poll companies in Canada, pays in gift cards.
Do they?
Yeah.
To Harvey's.
Well, I don't know if it's Harvey's. Harvey's would
Keep
be a good spot. Poutine's good there, even though I don't really eat beef, but it's pretty good. They make great burgers back when I was eating burgers.
Just chicken nuggies for you. Chicken nuggies and poutine.
That's right, and veggie burgers. They
do have a good veggie burger at Harvey's.
If only they could make their poutine with mushroom gravy. What's the harm? What's the harm in that?
Or just veggie, like just a veggie gravy.
It's just brown and water. That's all I need. It's a Simpsons
Watch what you wish for.
That's a Simpsons joke. Mm-hmm. But of course, in the U.S., there's state level recall laws in 19 states. Governors have been recalled. Gray Davis in California in 2003. Lynn Fraser in North Dakota in 1921. In Taiwan, they've got 24 recall attempts against KMT lawmakers. All 24 have failed. Venezuela, 2004 presidential recall. 59% voted against removing Hugo Chavez. In Peru and Bolivia, high volume of municipal recalls, moderate success rates. So it's done elsewhere, but it's not a widespread thing, which I think is why I hadn't really been aware of it. I hadn't really even thought to myself it's a possibility. But I love the idea, again, that on a provincial level, and specifically in Alberta's situation, and I think it could work really well in the U.S. as well, is I think those two places, America and Alberta.
Hurts my heart.
I know. And just as a side note, people would say, America? We're all living in America. No, we're not. We live in the Americas. North America and South America. But America, colloquially, refers to the United States of America. The thing that's happened that sort of ties Alberta and America together, I think, are the fact that a lot of people voted a little bit, I'm going to be generous and say uninformed when they voted. And now the FO part is happening.
Yes.
And people are like, oh man, we've seen it time and time again online with various people saying, this isn't what I voted for. This is exactly what you voted for. And we all saw that, except not all of us apparently. So I think this is a really great remedy for those people to be like, whoa. Okay, I wasn't paying attention, but I'm really going to brush up on my reading now. I'm going to pay attention now. Let's get this person out and let's try this again.
Well, and I think, if people voted for what they thought was best in the moment based on the platform put forward, and then once elected, the platform changes, people are putting forward things that they never ran on, it does sort of give the opportunity for the voters to keep people accountable by saying, this is not what we put you in power to do. I just think it's funny. It's so comical to me that when they put this legislation forward, they never, I don't know if they didn't anticipate or they never thought that at some point in time, and this is why it's dangerous to put forward this kind of stuff, that it could be turned around and used on you, right? Like they just never thought that would happen. And the fact that people are organizing, and I don't know. It's been a slow burn, but in the last 6 months-ish, there's been a lot of stuff in Alberta that, has started. We had the Forever Canadian petition. Yeah. We had the petition for a teacher in Calgary did a petition for public funds should go to public schools and not private schools. And so I think had they just left the legislation the way it was, didn't simplify it, didn't bring it to light, nobody, I think, would have gone, let me look into this legislation and if I can use it. But because they made changes, I believe, to make it easier for their people to put forward whatever they want to put forward, whether it's separation, referendum, whatever. But you put it at the forefront of a lot of people's minds and they kind of went like, let me look into this. And now they are using it against you. It's beautiful, delicious.
It is really like it's a rookie mistake, right? It seems like politics 101. Whatever you put in place for your benefit can, just by the nature of how things work in politics, can be used to the benefit of the other side, as it were.
Exactly. But that's the problem is they feel that they're untouchable. And this is why they're so outraged that this is happening. I mean, we had Dale Nally, who's the Minister of Red Tape Reduction, who's the one that introduced the strong and free license plates, even though the little license protector will cover the strong and free. Anyway, don't even get me started. Just an idiot.
Strong and free.
Right? Exactly. Well, that'll teach the libs. Just, calling out radical leftists. This is being weaponized by radical leftists. And my response to him was like you've been radicalized or been weaponizing the notwithstanding clauses and just violating the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But they called out like Alberta Resistance and yeah, these are leftist thinking people. Mm-hmm. But you cannot tell me that it is radical leftists that are concerned now with a lot of the stuff that's being put forward that is causing people to go, yeah, maybe we should be recalling them because none of this shit is what they ran on. And, there's a lot of organizations in Alberta. Like I said, there's Alberta Resistance, there's Public Interest Alberta. These are groups, grassroots groups, which the UCP loves a grassroots group unless it's against them. That are coming together, informing people and doing these kinds of things. It's not the unions, despite the fact that she wants to blame the unions. Could be union members because they're dissatisfied with what this government is doing.
Sure.
But I find it funny that when the first one went in for Dimitrios Nicolaides, who's the education minister, I didn't think it would get approved. Like, honestly, I don't know what the criteria is, but got approved. And then it's been a slow escalation of all of them coming in. And, as of recently, we're at 14. And they're still working on it. And it's just funny to me how the province will not provide Elections Alberta more money to deal with all of these recalls. It's like they're penalizing Elections Alberta. I think they're trying to fuck the process, but this chief electoral officer, bless their heart, like they're going to be out of a job at some point, but they are doing it by the book. If something comes in and meets the criteria, it doesn't matter what side it's on, they have to put it forward. And here we are, 14 in.
I mean, there's nothing radicalist about using a legal procedure or a political procedure that was created by the people that you are part of anyway. So, I mean, you can't say you guys weren't supposed to use it on us. That's radicalism.
Wait a minute. We didn't think this through. Yeah.
I should also we should be clear as well, because you make a good point about how in the U.S., I think a lot of people didn't think about they just thought very selfishly about their voting. They don't even selfishly, just their immediate, and everyone's treading water. And I get that. So they voted essentially for what they thought was going to be for their own best interests. And then now they're saying, well, we didn't vote for this. Well, it's like, well, yeah, you did. You just didn't bother thinking about it in a broader scope. Yeah. The people in Alberta, I feel, voted the UCP in, and as you said, the UCP got into power and seemingly started to change plans and to do things that weren't part of their mandate, weren't part of their platform during the election. So that's a different situation. I want to clarify that just to make sure, because it's not fair to say that Albertans were like, yeah, let's do this. It just seems like weirdly the UCP is trying desperately to be drunk on power, and there's not really enough left. There's just a little bit of left. There's a little bit of vodka left at the bottom after your mom and dad at a house party. And you're like, I'm going to get so hammered. It's like, you can't get that hammered. No. I don't know why I use that reference, but that's the analogy I'm running with. Yeah, but it's, I think they seem like they're desperate to be drunk on power, and it just doesn't seem very bright to me.
It doesn't, I mean, this is the frustrating part, is like, politics aside, so forget what side you're on. You have to actually listen to the stuff that's being put forward. And like with anything, you shouldn't just take it at face value. You should actually research the things that are happening, that are going to be impacting you. So initially, they're saying this all started, and maybe it did, because you forced the teachers back to work. Absolutely. Because you used a notwithstanding clause, which is not what it was meant for, to violate someone's charter right to withdraw labor. Then they used it for trans rights and kids and all those kinds of things. Again, not what the notwithstanding clause is for. Trans youth, their existence is not an emergency. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so this has gotten a lot of people thinking, like, okay, hey, this legislation has presented itself. Let's use it to our advantage at this point. But now we're seeing, like, again, things like wanting to privatize healthcare, and using a whole bunch of rationale that is absolutely incorrect, comparing us to places in Europe where they're trying to actually repeal a lot of private healthcare, not increase it. And so these are the things that we warned people about 2 years ago, of you have to understand what you're voting for, because you might think it's all fun and games. Like, yeah, you know what, they're taking away rights. Like, we don't have to get the COVID shot anymore, whatever. That's all fun and games, except if they're taking away a right from one person, chances are it's just a matter of time before they're taking away a right from you. And this trying to latch on to this power is why they're throwing all these different bills, all these different things that are unnecessary when there are bigger fish to fry in our province of trying to make things better for everyday Albertans. But they're trying to do so much to distract, number one, and have these things slip through as if people aren't going to notice. We're watching. And so these recall processes, are they going to be successful? We'll have to wait and see. I know there's a lot of very disappointed Albertans, some who are conservative. I see it and hear it all the time. I'm a conservative, but I'm not this kind of conservative. Or I like Canada, or I like my healthcare the way it is. No, I don't want to be part of a Alberta pension plan. Like, those kinds of things are the things that are going to impact everyday Albertans. And I, for one, give absolute credit and kudos to each person, because they are individual people that have started each one of these recalls, have paid the $500 to get it going, submitted what they needed to submit. And if nothing else, it tells these MLAs and this government, we are dissatisfied with your performance.
Which I think is great.
Yes.
So I think because we've talked about before about how long it's going to be before the next provincial election in Alberta.
So long.
And that's, the electoral process is good when everybody's playing fair, I think, or at least close to fair. And it's when they're changing rules and doing stuff they didn't say they were going to do, then it becomes a bit more of a tense situation where you can't wait to the next election. And I think there needs to be something like this in place to sort of be like, again, you don't want a couple of cranks to say, I don't like this person, get them out, and then they have to get kicked out. But you need to have 60% of the people who voted you in say, I want you out. That's huge, because very few people will win by 60%.
Well, and I think, the vibe of the last election, we had a poor turnout, right? And so, because I think people were like, meh, it's fine. Whatever.
Well, the numbers are staggeringly low to me. As I was saying, like 10,000 to 15,000 votes received. I'm like, this is close to like our mayoral election, our city council elections here in Stratford.
But don't forget, a lot of the MLAs that are up for recall, at least at this point, come from smaller areas, which just means it's more spread out, right? Like the numbers are more spread out. But to be fair, like I think Nenshi, was it this week or last week? I can't remember. Basically spoke out some people are upset about this recall. And I don't think he was trying to minimize like what is happening. But I think in general, as a politician, this legislation is dangerous for anybody. It doesn't matter what side you're on, because it could just be people who are cranks deciding, you know what, we don't want this person, so we're gonna, get people together. And that's not the purpose of it, right? Like it has to meet the criteria as put out by Elections Alberta, which is based on the legislation. So for just some people who are unhappy or want to get a party out that they don't like, it's not that simple. But at the same time, I get why politicians would be worried, because they're like, oh shit, it's just a matter of like, maybe that could happen to me, right? And I don't want it to happen to me. And my whole thing is, don't be an asshole if you don't want to get recalled, right?
Yeah. To me,
Easy.
that's my view on it as well. Is politicians might not want to have it, but it's also like, again, the threshold is so high at 60%. You have to be really awful to get that many people who voted you. If you won your election in your riding, and then 60% or more of the people in that riding decided you weren't doing a good job, you're not doing a good job. These aren't just people who've decided on a whim. These people are like, because everyone hates elections. I think that's pretty fair to say. Not everyone, almost everyone.
It costs a lot of money.
It costs a lot of money. It's also, as just a regular voter, it's kind of like, God, I gotta go vote. I gotta go vote again. And especially in Canada in the winter, you're like, I don't want to do this, or it's bad weather. There's lots of reasons that you don't want to vote. So I think that I'm still a fan of it. I think it's great. I think it's like, sure, this is the way it should be. Because you look at the situation in the U.S., as you mentioned, of course, in Canada, we don't vote for prime minister. But in the U.S., they vote for president. And I'm sure a lot of people in the U.S. would be like, you know what, this would be pretty great. I'm sure they could get 60% of the voters to say this now.
Like, oh shit. Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, I know the parties have leadership reviews and whatever, that's fine. But I really think there should be like a midterm report card from the voters, because a lot changes, right, in the term that you are serving. And, again, the goal is to keep people accountable. And so maybe if they knew that this was a potential and an easier potential, betcha they change legislation next time if they actually get back in, or if he decides to use the notwithstanding clause on this, who the hell knows. But to me, it's just a beautiful snap in time of irony that this is happening to them when they thought, we'll get those woke bastards. Here you go.
Well, I'll tell you, it feels like a little breath of fresh air. It feels a little bit of hope. It smells like hope a little bit in a global politics world. Well, that's a terrible thing to say. In the world of politics currently, there we go. The world of politics currently, it seems like so many people in power are a little goofy. They've gone a little nuts, and they've abandoned the rule of law. They've abandoned decorum. They've abandoned just generally being good, and in all this service of maintaining power, grifting, making money, whatever their reasons happen to be. Yeah. And money. This kind of thing makes me think, okay, good. This kind of thing tilts the balance a little bit back into the side of the voters in the electorate, the population. And that's a good thing. I think that's good. I'm all for it. Listen, you guys in Alberta, you know what I mean? I know the UCP decided to bring back, which just makes it better.
You know what's funny? Well, it is funny about that. Is that when Danielle Smith, back in her Wild Rose days, crossed the floor, the people who voted for her wanted to recall her, but there was no legislation to recall her. Here you go.
Now's your shot.
If you hold a grudge, here you go.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I get the updates, the readouts from the Prime Minister's office by email. Anyone can sign up for them, and it's not like he's sending them. He's not just sending it to me.
Hey, Stuart, what do you think?
What do you think, buddy? But the one thing that made me concerned about the Canada and Alberta strike new partnership to lower emissions, unlock natural resources, and build a stronger, more sustainable, more competitive economy. was the line in it that said, to these ends, Canada and Alberta share the same ambitions. And that line I thought, what? Canada and Alberta? Get out of here.
You know what's funny about that whole thing is that people are like just up in arms and stuff. It's a memorandum of understanding. It's not a memorandum of agreement.
Yeah.
Let it ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make a memorandum of understanding all the time.
Maybe this is all happening to quiet her down a little bit. Little piggy.
How dare you? I would never say that.
Yeah, you would. You're saying it all the time when we weren't recording.
I wasn't. Absolutely
Calling everybody
not.
Little piggies.
Well, that's obviously where we have to end the show now. Hey, listen, everyone, thanks so much for watching and or listening to Politics is Broken. You can find us at brittlestar.com or your favorite podcast platform. Feel free to comment, review on Apple Podcasts. We're doing really well on. We've been like bouncing around the top 3 in the government category on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate the support.
Cool.
We're pretty
Thank you.
cool. And getting some comments as well, which is interesting. We always like to see the comments come in, even if you don't agree with us. That's okay. You're allowed to not agree with us. Just makes you wrong. That's okay. But it's still nice that you've made the effort to type it out.
Won't hurt my feelings. It's fine.
Exactly. Thanks so much for everyone who are paid subscribers for watching the video. We hope you enjoy it, and take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week.
Have a good week, everybody.
You've been listening to Politics is Broken with Brittlestar and Lisa B. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to check out brittlestar.com for more.